And there's Brittany.
Hi, guys. Hey, hey. Casey, good to see you. I love it. Welcome, welcome. Seems pretty dark in my area right now. Hold on. Ta-da! All fixed. My computer brightness was down, so it wasn't brightening my face. Welcome, guys. Happy Sunday. Woohoo. You guys are actually early. Everyone who's on here right now showed up early, a minute or two early. So you get bonus points. And Marlene is drinking water, so she gets bonus points. You can literally earn points for what you're doing right now. The points redeemable someday, one day in the future. I won't tell you when. You'll just have to know. The points you earned drinking water.
I'm highly motivated by gold stars on my chart.
Most of us in Fitme are in the ballpark. I mean, we've got a spread of people. Our youngest members are probably in their late 20s, and then we have people into their 60s. But pretty much everybody like grew up in the age of like elementary school fundraisers, like we were talking about. And I was very compelled by the like gigantic, thermometer that would be put up in the cafeteria, and that your like class would win a pizza party. Like that was very motivating.
Or like when you step up into the next category for jump rope for heart.
Yes.
And you get like that extra frisbee.
Yes, it was a big deal. I really cared a lot about jump rope for heart, not just the fundraiser part, but like the act. I was so competitive as a child that I was like determined to make my calves explode without, like, I will not be the last person, or I will not be I will
the first person to stop. You couldn't stop before anybody else. Like off limit. Yeah.
But does anybody else remember from Jump Rope from Heart, they're bringing in like exhibitionist jump ropers, and like you're watching them like do like double Dutch times 12, and they're like, you're like, whoa, like this is like one day I'm gonna be a professional jump roper. Like that's the things you think when you're a kid, so excited about it. Oh, that's the best.
Does anybody else remember the Scholastic book fairs?
Yes.
And those like paper things, and you had to check the boxes, but they were like this big.
I can still smell that paper. You say that.
My kids still bring them home. I don't know why you're like, do you remember them?
They still have them?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were still a thing. Oh man.
Yeah.
Can you hurry up and go to school?
They probably have an app for that now. There's probably just an app. There's probably an app for it.
Yeah, they don't set up like a bookstore anymore like they used to.
Yes, they do. In Maryland,
Wow.
they send home the paper things, and then they have a week, and I have to take my kids there. It's exactly.
They do it here. Yeah, they do it here too. I always work it because I love it. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
Well, good news then for all of us. It is not over. You can still do Scholastic Book Fair. Well, sweet guys, let's get to it. Welcome. It is wonderful to see all of your faces. It's particularly great to see those of you who set the Sunday call as part of your intentions. And I know a handful of you have done that, where like that was actually a piece of your goal, was to show up to the Sunday calls to have this kind of kick off your week. So I am very pumped to see all of you here. And for those of you that are listening on the replay, thanks for listening to the replay. Remember, this is just an important part of your Fitme week. We all start on this coaching call together, and then Marco Polo, our coach, either tonight or tomorrow, and then you hear back, and then you can build on your progress all week by really having this intention starting you off. So I actually don't have any like housekeeping announcements or anything this week. So we can get right to our topic, which I'm kind of pumped about, because we kicked it off with the 7-day reset. We definitely talked about like where we want to be this time next year. And we've talked about what kind of obstacles are getting in the way. But listening to everybody's conversations this past week, you know, about as they work towards their goals, I thought this would be helpful to have a discussion about seasons. And I wanted to share with you something that back when I very first started with nutrition coaching, I actually gave a handful of seminars at gyms. And this was one of the topics that I shared. And I think you guys will get a ton out of this. So I want to share it with you. It's pretty easy to understand. But it's a concept I learned from Jason Phillips, who's, you know, one of the nutrition coaches that I really respect. He's been a coach of mine for a long time. He came up with this concept. So hold on, I'm going to mute. I'm going to have you guys mute out until the end if possible, just so there's no echo. So the idea is that there's this triangle that makes up goals. Okay. So if you think of goals, or maybe getting to the best of certain things as a triangle, that can be really helpful. And what I'm talking about is at one point of the triangle is maybe like the how our bodies look goal. You would call it like an aesthetic goal, right? Like how you look in the mirror and how you fit in clothes. That is one kind of goal, right? Then you might have another kind of goal, which would be more like a goal of physical accomplishment or a performance goal. Like your body is doing something at the highest level it's ever done before, right? So that's another tip of the triangle. And then there's another edge of this triangle, which is like optimizing your health, feeling the most healthy, the most restored, the most balanced, that version of you, right? So if you think about those things being on a triangle, and we can flip it, there's no direction that changed the triangle into something different, like a different shape, but there's no one that's better than the other. But oftentimes we've heard the narrative, especially in diet culture and, you know, even from the fitness industry, that you should be able to optimize everything at one time. You should be your absolute healthiest, you know, longevity, live the longest version of you. You should have 6-pack abs and look like, you know, the bikini model on the beach. And you should be able to accomplish everything in your physical body that you've ever dreamed of. And you should be doing that. Otherwise, you're not doing it right. And what I wanted us to think about tonight is that's actually not true. So I want you to think about some of the people who are at the absolute tip of this triangle. So like, for example, think about, say like a bikini competitor, right? Like somebody who competes on stage. They have this physique that, you know, it, not to say that we should aspire to it, but it's almost like that picture perfect, right? Like they kind of have shaped every muscle just right. And they have dieted way down. So they're really thin, and you can see they're even dehydrated, you know, so you can see all the things on stage. They have like done everything in their ability to optimize how they look. And that's the game that they're competing in, right? So they're at the absolute tip of that. But you could imagine, like, if you took that person immediately off the stage and told them to go like run a 10K, they would probably like drop dead because they are dehydrated, they haven't been eating, they haven't done any of those things. Or if you were like, how's your health doing? If they were honest, like if you could see inside their body, probably not doing awesome. Like their hormones are probably kind of whacked out a little bit. Like they've definitely compromised some of their other health things to get to that point, but they're at the top. Like they're trying to get to that peak. Well, think about it in terms of performance too. Like if you think about somebody, like I always like to use this example. Have you ever seen that documentary on Netflix? It's Eddie, he's like a strongman and he like competes, and he set the world record for deadlift. I mean, he lifted like way over 1,000 pounds. Like a human man did that. I mean, he's incredible. So he's like achieved something like at the top of like a human performance thing, right? He has trained, he is doing everything in his power to achieve that, but he's made some like big compromises in how he looks. Like, I don't think he cares about what jeans he fits in, you know? He's not worried about that. His face is like red and bulging and like sweating, and he's like, his skin's all jacked because he has to eat so much food to like be able to do that. And he's probably made also some big compromises in his health. Like, there's no way that dude's at the top of his health because he's trying to do this incredible thing, this performance thing, right? And then last, I want you to think about like an example that would be like to the tip of the triangle on the health side. Someone who has prioritized above all else, like eating, you know, perfectly organic foods, like skips everything that could contaminate their body. All of the potential, you know, chemicals and things are out. They sleep, like that is the priority. They take entire seasons to go rest. You know, they have optimized their health. They use everything possible to extend their life and to like live that sort of like Zen balanced, you know, lifestyle with optimal health. So that's someone who's like at the tip of that triangle. So the reason I bring this up on our call is because sometimes we think that we should be able to get better in all of those different categories at one time. And that is not typically true. Now, if you are at the very beginning of your journey with taking care of yourself with like healthy habits and good eating, then it's possible that you'll make progress in all of those categories, right? You can improve your health, you can get stronger, you can also like feel and look better, and that is true. But that happens when you are actually balanced and in the middle, okay? And so the reason I share that with you is because sometimes we can get really frustrated with ourselves. Like, say, excuse me, sir. I muted myself. How about that? You can't mute yourself. So what I don't know where it cut off, but I think what I was saying when I accidentally muted myself is that sometimes we get frustrated with ourselves because when we start to make progress with one area, we think that there's something wrong, right? Like we're like, well, what about this, and this? And so say, for example, if you've lost like 15 or 20 pounds, you might try to do something that you used to do in the gym and it's going to feel different, but that's okay. Because if right now your goal is working on that, you know, that weight loss piece, if you want to feel better in your clothes, it's okay to say, you know what, temporarily, I'm not going to, you know, beat myself up for this piece. So I thought I would share that because I don't know that everybody knows what season they are in right now. And I thought it might be helpful to talk about seasons and ask each of you, you know, if you know what season you're in. Are you in a season that you are focusing on improving how you look and feel? So more of that, like, how do I look? How do I feel in my clothes kind of feeling? Are you in a season where you need to take care of your health? That needs to be a priority right now. Where maybe you're doing, I know some people are actually doing an elimination diet right now. Why? Because they need to take care of their health. They're checking that, you know, to make sure it's good, you know. If someone's had surgery or something, you're actually in a season of health. You're restoring your body. You need to give time for recovery in that season. It's not a good season for weight loss, right? If you've just had surgery. Maybe you're super jazzed up and you're like, I have big goals on the horizon. Like I want to do my first marathon ever. And so you're starting to train really hard and you're like, what's wrong with me? My joints don't feel as good. And you're kind of like, I'm doing something wrong, right? Like I don't feel as healthy as I did before. So none of us are probably interested in those extremes. Otherwise, you probably wouldn't be a part of Fitme, at least the ones on the performance and like the, you know, on the stage bikini side. That's probably not our primary goal. We probably want to be somewhere balanced, making progress, you know, in each of the different categories. But I just want us to remind us on this call that it's okay to have seasons. You can be in a season right now where your focus is weight loss or the body piece. you can be in a season in the future where your focus changes, and it can be on the health piece and restoring your body and creating that harmony and balance. You can be in a season where you really focus on pushing yourself to a new level. But it's good to know what season you're in. So that way you don't feel frustrated that you're like not seeing as much progress as you want. And really, when we're saying what season we're in, it's just saying what's your priority right now. And it's good to shift. It's good to shift, especially if weight loss has been your priority for years and years. I'm going to tell you, it's good to make a shift, have a different season right now. Like, let's focus on, that health side, those healthy habits, and let's see what you can do with your body. Let's take a break from that. If you've been beating your body up for years and years, trying to push yourself, then it's going to be time to take a break from that. It's okay. So I know I don't typically like go into this more like nutrition science stuff on here, but I think this is such an important topic that nobody talks about. And I think it'll also be a relief for each of us to kind of know that we don't necessarily have to do all of the things at one time. Like for, even just on the stuff that I've seen Fitme members do, where over last summer, a lot of people set goals, physical achievement goals. It was for two reasons. One, because mentally it's awesome to take a break, like we talked about, and focus on something other than weight loss and how our physical body looks. It's really positive for us, but also from a progress standpoint, you have to take a break. Especially if you have weight that you like, if you have more than 30 or 40 pounds to lose, I would say if you have more than 30 pounds to lose, it's going to take more than one season. So you got to break it up a little bit. So your homework for this week is to talk to your coach about what season are you in? What is your priority right now? And I want to sanity check that against what you said your goals were, and where you want to be this time next year, and make sure that the season that you're in right now is in alignment with what you said you're going to do. Because a lot of times we want to say, like, I want to be in a season of blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, I'm not like acknowledging the fact that I just had surgery, And then when you say it out loud like that, you're like, oh, I actually need a couple of weeks, of that healing season. So I want to hear from you guys. What are your questions about this? What are your thoughts? Do you know what season you're in? Are you like, I'm in every season, I'm doing it all? I don't believe you, Christy. Thoughts?
I think
this
I'm
is
in
a
a
good one.
performance season. Oh, sorry. I'll go on mute.
Nope, go, Tom.
Lauren, you go first, then Amy.
Okay, I had to mute Little Mermaid. I'm in a performance season. I think I know I shared with you that I started that gymnastics training with coach Alex LaChance, and that's been really, really good. Just giving me some structure and helping me rebuild some really frustrating strength and that kind of stuff. And it's really been good for me to just have a focus and have some like mental, like it's really mental health downtime for me in addition to the performance, because I'm not having to like think about what I'm going to do and all this stuff, and I'm not trying to optimize my body composition or anything like that, but just things are changing. And but it's really interesting, and I really like focusing on the performance side because it's a lot more mentally measurable for me. Because I can see, like, I can go back and check my exercise history and in the True Coach and be like, look, I could only do 3 of these, a month ago, and now I can do, 5 sets of 5, and it's just a big deal because I can really see the progress in a different way than like what the scale shows or like what my clothing shows, because those haven't changed for a really long time, and I got kind of like stagnant. Just kind of figuring out where I want to be and what I want to be doing. And so that's been kind of fun and interesting for me.
Yeah, you're definitely in that season. And I think it's so good that you decided to just lean into that season a little bit rather than feel like, oh, what's wrong with me? Like, I'm not feeling like I need to lose weight right now. Like, nothing's wrong with you. It's good to shift gears. You got a gymnastics coach who could give you programming and like really push you. But as you do that programming, you're going to get stronger. Your muscles are going to change. And so you're spending money and time to do it so you can like build that skill set. And so what goes along with that is like the rest. It's like eating enough food to restore your body. It's a totally different season than say like, you know, being in a deliberate, you know, less calories than you need season. But I love that you're doing that, Lauren. I think that that's cool. Amy, what were you going to say?
Sorry, had to unmute. I just think that it's interesting and it's a good question because I think a lot of times the benefit of community is that we are all kind of doing things similarly, but we're individuals. And I think that it's a question that I have to think about because I mean, obviously lose baby weight season, woo, but I don't exactly know where that is because I'm only 8 months postpartum, and I know Rachel would yell at me if I'm like gonna go hardcore right now because she's gonna be like, no, you are not actually. So yeah, I think it's something that I need to figure out for real.
And postpartum is particularly unique because you get handed multiple seasons.
Yeah.
Like you have a recovery season you have to take. And then you're like, well, I also want to feel and look better. So like I can see this weight loss part being a part of this season, but then you miss that part of you, especially Amy. I know you miss that part that like trains hard and competes. So
yep.
just like we said, even though those are all parts of you, those are all really good things to pursue. If you pursue them all together, they are not the same. They're like in conflict.
For sure.
I think I would put like balance or kind of like the season of the holidays almost with that, with the health one, even though those are different to me in my mind, they're kind of similar. Optimizing your health might also be like a way to think about it. We might also think of just like optimizing our life and enjoying, you know, the people around us. And if that's a priority, again, that's like going to be way different than some of the others. So maybe mine, I just turn it into a square. So now it's mine because I turned it into a square. And I don't want to hear anything from you science people that a triangle, they're all equal distance apart, but a square, they're not. And so it's not the same. I know.
All right. So I am in a season of maintaining, but learning the habits better so that I do maintain where I'm at and stay healthier consistently.
I like it. I think that falls on that, you know, health and like balance side. I feel like that is the priority for you. Like if I was like, here you go, Lisa, like here's a way that you can, you know, get into the next pant size down. All you got to do is X, Y, and Z. And they weren't in line with those healthy habits. You'd be like, no. Like my priority right now, even though that's like a nice thing, that's a good idea. But like, nope, my priority is this, like to cement these habits.
I thought I wanted abs really bad. And then I really, really researched like what you have to do, especially at my age, to attain that goal. I'm not that disciplined.
Mm-hmm.
It would be unhealthy. So I would rather be healthy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know what season you're in. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's a perfect example. You've thought about it. You know what you want. And now you can make choices that are in line with those priorities. Yeah. So it's good to like sanity check that back to your goals, you know?
Yes.
And I love it. Good example. Abs are both a reflection of like hard training, nutrition, and genetics. Some people who are in really excellent shape still will not have six-pack abs.
Hey, Christy.
Yeah.
I'm personally doing like the mental piece.
Uh-huh.
That's my season. I realized it this past summer that that's really what I needed. And, this season might last all year for me, but I'm working on getting my habits, my time management habits in place, and working on being nice to myself.
Yes.
So
I feel like we keep adding to the triangle because we didn't even make, self-talk and body image one of the priorities of the seasons, but I feel like that's one of them.
Yeah.
It can be one where you feel confident in the way that your life is structured and the way that you talk to yourself, all of that.
I guess you could call it, I'm focusing. I mean, if you stuck to the three things, I guess you could call what I'm doing right now as my health, because it's the mental health part.
I think you're right. If we have to stick with a triangle, we'll put it over there, but I'm just going to keep adding points.
Yeah.
I think we're at a pentagon right now. We're up to a pentagon. Is anybody in a weight loss season right now or a strength building season that they'd want to share?
I think I'm in a combination. Mindset and strength building. Mindset to set boundaries and give myself space to eat properly so I can build that strength, but also so it doesn't throw me off kilter from that goal. But that's my ultimate goal, strength building.
I think that your strength actually falls into that health side because you're not trying to get so strong that you win a powerlifting competition.
No.
You want to be strong and healthy and have good muscle mass and good bone density and all that good stuff. And so I think I'd put it there. So I think they're kind of in alignment.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, I'm in a weight loss season right now. It was interesting because I started last year with, when I started Fitme, thinking it was going to be weight loss, but I ended up focusing on learning the habits and then meeting Tori, who helps me getting my body back into shape from cancer. So now I feel like I'm in the spot now where this is the perfect season for losing weight.
Yeah, you've gone through a handful of seasons, even, over the past year also, but multiple years. You could pair out how your seasons are. So what does that change for you then? Knowing that this is a new season, how does that change your priorities?
It's teaching me to be consistent because I was learning the habits last year, but I was kind of not being consistent with them. So now I'm having to be consistent every day to stay on track so that I can actually lose some of the weight. So.
That's awesome. I'm glad you said it that way too, because that's exactly how we talk about achieving weight loss inside Fitme is creating consistency. And so if you can be consistent, 80 to 85% of the time, if you started with 0 and now you're at 80 to 85%, you're going to see a lot of progress. But that 80 to 85% kind of looks like maintenance. So when you really want to see progress, especially if you've been stuck, then that consistency actually has to go up higher. So then you go to more like 95%, 97% consistency with your healthy habits. Then what's great is that when you have those times where you need to have balance, you can go right back to 80 to 85% and you don't lose all your progress. You just stay the same because you're not doing some kind of weird diet where all of a sudden you need to learn some new weird maintenance program. You actually just live the healthy lifestyle. That's that 85% doing this most of the time. I eat most meals look great. Every once in a while, it's whatever. I don't have too much sugar. Every once in a while I have a treat and I don't even worry about it. That's what that looks like. And you can get away with that every week, and stay pretty much the same and feel really good, be really healthy. And then as soon as you want to see that weight loss, like what Nikki's saying, then you kick that consistency up. You start putting a couple weeks together where you've been on point. It doesn't mean that you can never have a day off. It just means that you're more consistent than you were. A lot of times people are like, I'm doing really well, but they're really, I think there was a conversation in the the newbies Marco Polo group this week about weekends. It was in one of the groups and talking about how like it feels like you're doing awesome when you're like 5 days look really good, but then the weekends are kind of all over. But that's actually a huge, you know, big chunk of your time. So you have to be more consistent than that. If you're in a weight loss season, you got to work on the weekends too. Awesome. Well, sweet guys. So your task for the week is to reach out to your coach, talk about what season you are in. If you want to add another point to the shape, if I didn't name your season and you feel like this is the season I'm in, go ahead and tell your coach what it is and talk back and forth about it. And then, excuse me, too much LaCroix. Sanity check it back to your goal and make sure what you've said you're working hard on is in line with the season that you're in. Because then you're really going to see progress pick up. And then you can also have a conversation with your coach when it's time to change seasons, which will happen. That's good. That's a positive. Sweet guys. Is there anything else before we wrap up? I got to take pictures. Okay, we have to do 2. Okay, first one. Shelly, it's good to see your face. I just saw you. You popped up on my screen. All right, 1, 2, 3. And then we got to do one more. You don't know which one you are, so you better smile for both. All right, 1, 2, 3. Scared me. All right, guys. You have a wonderful night. We'll talk to you soon. Reach out if you need anything. Take care. Bye.